What's up, guys? Dark Dally here, and today it's time to finally take a look at some of the defenses I have set up here at my junk defense fort at Starlight Drive-In. Some of the things which are perhaps ugly, but definitely work well. The first thing I want to show is this cool guard tower I made, and then I'll get onto some of this stuff over here. Now, in my last video from this fortress, I showed you my bulletproof greenhouse. Very cool. So if you haven't seen that, be sure to check that out. And so also don't forget to subscribe for other updates and things you may have missed or may miss in the future. This is very cool, by the way. I have another settlement I'm working on, by the way, which I have turned this into a completely enclosed patio on a very fancy looking mansion. It's actually really cool what you can do with these Kolakar arenas if you put some work into it. So anyway, let's go on to this guard tower here. Now, the reason for this was I thought I had enough decent vantage points here, but because of the way I have this wall curve, I wanted a nice open area inside the wall. Because of the way it curves, there's a lot of places where attackers could be that are out of line of sight, and I wanted to make sure I could see everywhere in the fort. Also, one of my viewers mentioned that they couldn't ever get 4-story elevators to snap, and this person was actually under the impression that they didn't snap. So I was like, I would like an excuse to put a 4-story elevator, and show that they do indeed work. And of course, they do. So I'm sorry if you were having bad luck getting yours to snap. There are some tricks. Sometimes elevators like to be finicky. And before I go up and show you this, I guess I should mention some of this. When you do an elevator, sometimes they don't want to snap to foundations. Sometimes I've had them not want to snap to certain floors. One time I had to use warehouse floors to snap it. And sometimes you'll have to put floors you don't want to snap the elevator so that you can take them back away. Now, as far, on that topic, with elevators, always make sure, because as everyone knows, these buttons can disappear. And from my experience, it seems to be when the elevator is left up, and you fast travel away and then come back later, it will return the elevator to the first floor, but sometimes the buttons stay up. And the buttons, well, technically they actually don't disappear. They just remain several stories in the air hanging above the elevator. And the only way to fix it, of course, is to store the elevator and rebuild it. So, as everyone knows, and if you don't, take note, when you build an elevator, make sure that you can easily remove it and then replace it if you have to. Don't wind it into a humongous structure where if you take it out, you can't possibly put it back in. There's nothing connected to this. It's only flanked by these walls. Always make sure that you do that. Alright, so the second floor goes up to right here, and this is my little walkway I created around the wall, and I'll show you how I made this after I show you the elevator. This little walkway here has one vantage point out here where you can see and shoot from. And then I got some of my doors here to protect from explosive projectiles, but you can still shoot through them, of course. This allows a decent amount of vantage points. And this here goes to the second story of the elevator, just kind of lined up that way, so that's, where I put it. Now, if we go up to the third story of the elevator, there's some decent vantage points here, but not as good as up top. So I didn't use the doors here. I just used these cool looking chain link fence. I think this is really cool. Now, I know this is ugly, but that's kind of the point of this place. I want it to look like it was built by the sole survivor scavenging, trees and metal, sheeting and other things that he would find around the Commonwealth. So this gives pretty decent vantage point of the surrounding area. This is definitely a good point to snipe from. It's not so high that far away things are going to be, low res and not rendered yet, but it's not so low that you can't see over the fence either. Very cool. It just feels safe and secure in here. It really does. Now up to the fourth floor. Now, there was really nothing to making this. There's no reason to even, show or explain anything. It's simply just, these floors snapped around the central elevator shaft. And, of course, rug glitched into place are these doors and these gates, half walls, whatever you want to call them. They are there for two reasons. They are there, one's obviously so you can take cover, and two, so that when you open this, you don't, you can't accidentally fall out. And, they look a little tall. That's because I just realized one of my other characters is shorter and runs a short mod, and I just realized I left that mod in my load order when I loaded this guy, so you can actually see over these fine. I just realized that. So now, of course, you can shoot through these doors, and they open and close so that you can shoot a rocket launcher, or a Fat Man, or throw grenades, or whatever you want through if you have to. And again, a normal-sized character can see over this fine. I accidentally left my load order because I was working on my other character's settlement. So here is the top floor of this watchtower. It's pretty cool. You can really see from everywhere. The only place you can't see is in that little blind spot created by the outer curve of the junk fence down there, but you can see that vantage point from the place down there where I showed you. So this place is pretty cool. Like I said, not much complicated, no need to explain. But a cool idea. If you want to build one of these, it works pretty well. It's a way to go up 4 stories in the air without ever becoming exposed because it uses an elevator. Of course, it has a very small footprint. Now let's go out here, and I'll show you some of the difficulties I had building this fence around here. There we go. Sometimes my game freezes for a moment when I open the settlement bar. So if you see my screen go like that, it's because I have a lot of add-ons which may or may not be in the right order, and it causes my settlement build to take a while to open. Now, this piece right here, I should mention, is a real... I have troubles getting this thing to work. And maybe it's just me. There's a lot of things that are added by unlocked settlement objects that I really like. And this is one of those things, but things that I can never find a way to place. Like this, for instance. Now, I do have these used in this wall. I will show you. This will place, but you have to get it just right. And I don't know, but I did get one of these. I resorted to the older ones in the original section, mostly. I'm sure a lot of this stuff that's always red can be placed by using the rug or post glitches or whatever, and I'm not as good as that as a lot of people. This is right here is the one I resorted to using quite a bit on this. I've always been primarily focused on architecture, and thus I never got as good at using posts and ashtrays and whatever else people used to glitch, which people have commented on my videos. They say, oh, you can do this and this to glitch this piece there, and I honestly didn't know that because I spend most of my time doing architectural stuff and not decorating and such. Anyway, so there's probably a way to place some of these pieces that I just missed. That said, this little support piece is very cool. It's right here. It's very tricky to find a way to place it, and maybe there's a way I'm missing. Now, I did get it there. I got it there by luck and some trial and error. So what this is I use the tall wall around here, but where did I get that short wall? Oh, actually, I know where I get that short wall. What I did was I used a short wall from... Is that this piece? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I used this, and then this is kind of a cool thing. It's flanked by these two... The tall walls are obviously glitched into place. This is actually a wall which, does snap. So I was able to take an end cap. And, of course, the end cap's not going to snap here. What I did was I temporarily put some floors out here to get it to snap. Then, once I got it snapped into place, I deleted the floors. And then, because of the overhang, I put this support here to keep it uniform. Now, the walkway is mostly created with these things right here. These can be difficult because they want to snap so bad, it's hard to put them at any angle, other than straight. So what I did was, to create the curve, kind of want to put one out here. It takes a lot of trial and error. No, it's not quite right, so then oops. So then I'd move this up and in a little bit until I got them to slowly curve like that. And then a lot of the gaps in them are patched with, oh geez, you know, anything, you know, is the best way to match. If you want to match this kind of architecture, patch stuff with anything and everything. I used a lot of wooden planks from the wooden planks section of the USO integrated menu. Let's go back over there. I really like this junk wall here. This is the last wall in the junk wall section of USO integrated. And I really like it because it has, it's just a cool look. It's just, I guess it's two walls just paired together. It looks very cool. This is that one bridge I said I couldn't get to place, and I actually did get to place somehow right there. It just happened. This palette, you know, this is all about like patchwork. See, I showed you how I put the end cap here, you know, is by putting a dummy floor out here so I could snap it and then removing the floor. I was able to put these stairs, but I wasn't able to put stairs here because the corner of this wall jutted through, you know, like 2 inches. So I put a palette, you know, it works, just whatever works. Somehow, you know, this is all eyeballed coming around this corner. This got a little bit low when I came back to this. See, this piece is the same as that one. I wanted like a half circle of wall with this on either side. And as I came around here, I ended up lower than I started. These are awesome little stairs which are found. I'll just show you. If you don't know, they're found actually in the fences and walls, or fences and barrier. What's it called? Fences and walls is actually where these are found under the cinder block, and they're the last thing in the cinder block menu. Odd place to look for stairs, so maybe you missed them. That's where these are at. And of course those had to be rug glitched into place. They look very cool there, I think. So that's how a lot of this is put together. A lot of rug glitching. There's a lot of rugs sitting around here. Now people say, you know, if you leave the rugs there, they will contribute to your item limit, your size limit for the settlement. And I figured that's probably true, but you know, I don't know everything. But since the invisible rugs, you know, they don't have any texture, since they're effectively invisible, I really don't see them hurting my frame rate any, because you know, they're not contributing any polygons whatsoever to rendering this. You know, I'm no expert on this. I'm probably wrong. And I know that there are mods to completely remove the size limit even on PlayStation, which I am on. And as you can see, my size limit's about full. I choose to leave the size limit there because I do want to mention this real quick. You know, it is there for a reason. Now, that said, there are plenty of ways to get around it. I can glitch around it, but I like having the bar there so I know where I'm at. I like having the bar there, and instead of using a mod to get rid of it, I'll just glitch it back down. And then, you know, if it gets full again, then I know where I'm at. If I were playing this with no size bar, I'd have no guideline as to how far I am until my frame rate starts dropping or shit starts crashing. That said, I like to leave the bar up there if you were wondering why I got that annoying yellow bar. So that's some of the stuff I wanted to show here before I move on to another settlement. This place isn't necessarily finished, but then again, if you watch my videos, I rarely actually finish something. I'm always having new ideas, and I'm always wanting to charge onto something new. And it was the addition of this bulletproof greenhouse I built here which really brought me onto my new project, which is quite impressive. I don't want to say too much. It's something that's really, really cool, and I'm actually doing it on another character. I made a new character. I make a lot of new characters. So here's this. Let me know what you think, guys. Alright, I think this is pretty cool. I had a lot of fun making this. I hope you guys had fun watching this video. I do hope you subscribe if you haven't already to keep track of all my new content that's coming out. Maybe, you know, you're going to find some useful stuff in some of the stuff I do. I pretty much spend all the time I'm playing trying to figure out how to do stuff that no one's done before. And so surely one of my videos has something interesting, so definitely stay tuned for what's coming next. Guys, it's been a pleasure. My name is Dark Dally. I will see you all later.